Hey y'all, I'm John with Garage Gym Revisited, and today we're going to be doing a video review of the RitFit PSR05 Power Rack and Smith Machine. Now, the part everyone is most interested in, functionality. What kind of workouts can you get with the PSR05? Well, I'm going to divide this section of the review into the good, what I call the meh, and the bad. There's a lot to love about this machine, but there are trade-offs, and so I want to give you all a complete picture of everything you're going to get if you do decide to purchase this. But I want to start off with the good because there is a lot of it. For the price point, which currently I believe it's going for under $600 on the RitFit website, and that's before our 12% discount code using RFGym, this thing packs a punch in a very small, compact space in a way that's very easy to put together and at a very, very attractive price point. A lot of racks that offer you similar capabilities are going to end up going for four figures. Just funky butt love. So, just to quickly review what we've got going on here with the PSR05, you've got cables coming out of the back with an attachment up top, and you can exchange this bar for, say, the shorter row bar that you've got here at the bottom, but you've got cable exercises coming down from the top, so you can do your lat pull downs or your tricep push downs. Here at the bottom, you can do your bicep curls. You've got plenty of weight storage, even though you only have 2 storage pylons. You can fit quite a few plates here, maybe 4 or 5 on each side. This did come with 2 35s, 2 25s, and 2 15s. RitFit sells the PSR05 in additional packages with different amounts and different colors of weights, both on their website and on Amazon. But it's really nice that you can actually fit up to 1,000 pounds of weight on the cable. So even if you run out of storage room on the pylons here in the back, if you do have additional weight, this thing can really handle about as much weight as you might possibly want to do on some of these cable exercises. So you've got plenty of optionality with the cables. You've got a really nice pull-up bar here that gives you a full range of options for how you might want to do a pull-up or a chin-up. You can do your wide grip overhand, you can do a full underhand, and you can do a neutral hammer grip. So it's really nice that you're able to do pretty much any sort of pull-up or chin-up that you might want to do. The Smith machine here is a great addition. If you're just looking for a Smith machine, I think the PSR05 would be a really good option because you kind of get a great Smith machine plus all this other functionality. But even if the Smith machine is simply a nice to have, it still is a great addition to your ability to be able to get a full workout in here. You can use this thing for most of your barbell exercises like your squats, your deadlifts, your bent over rows. You can lay on the ground on your back and kick your legs up, use it as a leg press or do calf raises with that sort of thing, standing military press. So a lot of functionality here, very well built. You've got the landmine here on, I guess, the left if you're looking at it. Swivels freely. Next up, we're going to talk about what I call the meh. These are things that are not awful deal breakers. They're more of just minor annoyances. So maybe some people will find them frustrating enough to want to go with something else. Other people might not care at all. But these are things that I noticed that if I were designing this from scratch, I might have tweaked. So first of all, when you're using the Smith machine barbell here for a standing military press, unless you're even shorter than me at 5'6", you're probably not going to be able to get a full range of motion where you're able to actually extend it all the way up. So let me show you what I mean. If I get right here, I'm not quite fully locking out my arms, just because, again, the thing is not tall enough for me to be able to do that. And really, this is not a criticism of the PSR05, because any of your power racks that are designed to fit in your typical home garage or spare bedroom, like I'm in right now, they're just not going to have the height for you to be able to do that. It's not the end of the world. You could simply sit on the ground and do a sitting shoulder press, or if you have the bench, you could sit on the bench, something like that. Again, not really a knock on the PSR05, but it is a limitation of the machine that I felt like I should mention. Second myth, the cables are positioned here at the top and the bottom in the center of the machine, whereas a lot of the other power racks typically have them on either side coming out of the front. And the cables work smoothly. They allow for a huge range of exercises. I don't really have any complaints with them as they are, but because you have one on top, one on the bottom, both in the center, you're not going to be able to do any of those two-handed kind of crossovers or other two-handed exercises where having them on the left and the right would be helpful. So again, if you're thinking, well, I don't really do those anyway, it's not a big deal, that's why it's a meh. Third thing, they have the band pegs, like I mentioned in the good, which is great for adding resistance, but they don't have band pegs at the top. So if you wanted to take off a couple of pounds and eliminate a little bit of resistance, you don't have that option. You can make things heavier, you can't quite make them lighter. Not a big deal, but again, needed to mention it. And then the last thing is the kick plate right here is actually 2 foot plates. And while they are positioned pretty well for about whatever you want to do, because they are 2 separate plates, you are basically stuck positioning your legs in exactly the position that they're at. If it was one large connected plate, maybe I could have my feet close together and then I could have them further apart and I would have that optionality. But here, I'm basically limited to exactly where they are. So having discussed the good and then the meh, let's get on to the bad. These are areas where, again, depending on how you plan on using the PSR05, they may not be deal breakers, but they are certainly worse in terms of my level of criticism than what I would consider a minor annoyance. This could be something that makes people want to choose a different rack entirely, or may not be worth the other benefits of the PSR05 simply based on what kind of workouts you like to do and how you could see these aspects of the PSR05 impacting your workout. So the first thing I want to mention is that while I really love the pull-up bar, I like that you have the wide grip, that you have the option to do underhand and neutral grip, that they even have the wider neutral if you're a larger guy and you want to be able to do that. It's a great pull-up bar, but I really wish that they had not implemented the pull-up bar directly over the Smith machine barbell. Because of course this thing is on a track right here. It's not the freestanding barbell that you could just take and move out of the way. If you want to do pull-ups on here, pretty much this thing's always going to get in your way. It's obviously not really possible to do it without it banging into your chest or your stomach if you have it up here. And then if you lower it all the way to the ground, now you're in a situation where you basically are going to knock your shins every time you try to do a pull-up, and you really have to keep your legs tucked behind you. Otherwise, you're going to get some bruises here, and the only bruises you should have there are from deadlifts. So that's kind of frustrating. It's not a deal breaker. If you're taller and you were expecting to have to keep your legs tucked under you the whole time anyway, maybe it won't impact anything, and you could always reframe it as saying, hey, I'm going to get an extra ab workout while I'm doing my pull-ups because I got to keep my legs tucked. So,
oh, that's funny.
Oh. But second thing, speaking of the location of the cables, I also don't really love how they located the cables in the back and the Smith machine up front. Because just like the barbell gets in the way of me doing my pull-ups, it also kind of gets in the way of me doing anything else. You know, if we took the barbell out, you'd see that I have this nice kind of cage area to work with, but with the barbell right here in the middle, now I'm sort of limited in this very tight spot where I've got to either step between the barbell and the cables over here, or I'm just going to be that much farther from the cables if I want to be outside. And then of course it just makes it a little bit more difficult to rest them easily. If I'm going to step inside, you know, I don't have that much room to maneuver. And it's totally doable. You can absolutely get in a good workout, but you better not forget that this thing's right here, because then you turn around to get a drink of water and you trip yourself up.
Over hits the ground, and Matt Frazier takes a nasty spill off of that thing, but he is okay.
It's going to be frustrating if it's at the bottom, and then again, it's kind of frustrating if it's up top. At 5'6", I'm banging my head. Every time I want to get here, I get in here, I do my exercises, I'm ready to go, and then again, I kind of have to duck every time I want to move around. So when it came to actually assembling this thing, The instructions don't have a lot of written text, but the pictures are very large, very clear, everything's properly labeled, so it wasn't difficult or confusing in terms of figuring out how to actually put it together. So again, it's relatively small and compact. It doesn't take that much time. Like I said, about 2 hours by myself with a little bit of help, but if you had somebody helping you out the entire time, you could probably get this bad boy assembled in about an hour. If you are someone who's new to lifting, if you're elderly or injured, if you're not looking to be competitive, top 1% type of athlete, if you really just want the Smith machine, or if you're running low on space or on a tight budget, this is going to be an incredibly attractive offer for you. If you're someone who's looking to be able to do absolutely everything from the workout, who is wanting to constantly push for new personal records or to be competitive, this might not be exactly what you need because it's going to be difficult to add on to this rack. But in terms of getting you pretty much everything that you would want or need for most of the workout types that you're going to be able to want to do, the PSR05 has you covered. So thank you for watching the review, and don't forget to go check out Garage Gym Revisited for our written review of the PSR05 if you want to learn a bit more about it and see a couple of shots of me actually using this bad boy. Thanks.